What is happening? We are live. We are live. I think we're live. What's up, everybody? We are live. We are live. This new integration with OBS thing is kind of weird. You have to click go live. It brings you, instead of just going live right away, it brings you like a preview and then you have to click go live. I always forget that we're actually live. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing? What's up, Jonas? What's up, Lamar? Wow, right off of the bat, Microsoft working with Ubisoft to bring Diablo 4 and all other Activision Blizzard games to xCloud? Question mark. Oh, you're asking. I would assume so. I would assume so because Ubisoft has all of the rights for the cloud gaming distribution. How's everyone doing tonight? I'll be honest, I don't have a we're just gonna chill tonight. I thought I had a show planned. Not my streams are always random, so as I'm more of a daily video channel, my streams just always go kind of random, talk about random things. Sorry I missed last week, so a lot came up. I thought I was gonna be able to do it on Monday, and then I wasn't able to end up streaming it all last week. But and as this in Canada, we have winter, very cold. And then now the weather is starting to get warmer. The snow is gone and you have to go outside a bit more. So I play baseball. So my streaming is the date and time may change over the summer, but we'll just go live. We'll just hang out and chat. But obviously my daily videos will still be there. What's up, everyone? What's up, James? What's up, Jonathan? How you guys doing tonight? How you guys doing? Did I close all my stuff here? I don't think so. I don't think so. What's up, Saba? Rachy, how you doing? Doing great. Sad I can't watch Eve's Assets and Stellar Blade. But I started playing Metal Gear Rising. And Raiden Assets will do. Well, that's, yeah, I mean, Raiden's Assets, not bad. Not bad. If Bionic Wolf, member for 2 months. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. For all of you out there who don't know, I do have a membership. It's just $1 a month, and it just helps support the channel. Nothing too crazy. I don't have any $5 months or anything like that. But I appreciate the being a member, Bionic Wolf, for 2 months. Long time. It's awesome. Thank you. And good evening to you as well. Good evening to you as well. So we have an exciting couple of months ahead of us, or at least that's what it is sounding like, with rumors about the Xbox showcase and the showcase, what they're going to be showing off there, and stuff like Gear 6 being a true next gen moment, which, I mean, we're now 4 years into this generation. You'd hope we finally do get the next gen moment. I mean, Hellblade comes out in a month, and I feel like that's going to be a true next gen moment from everything we have seen, even just from the actual gameplay that they have shown off. 30 FPS, 60 FPS, doesn't really matter. Graphically, it is looking absolutely insane. What's up, JJ saying? How you doing? How's everyone doing tonight? Are you guys excited for the upcoming months here? Getting into the fun time of the year. We get all the showcases and we get all of information about the upcoming games that will be coming out. Hellblade does look like a banger. It does. The discussion around Hellblade when that game releases will be very interesting to see. How... Well, first of all, review-wise, I feel like it's going to get very good reviews. Because they are definitely confident with these early previews of the game, giving them out there, and you can tell from the people who have played it, the game is sounding very good. But again, I guess that kind of happened with Redfall, where there were previews came out and the game looked really good, and then of course that wasn't the experience when it did launch. Sandland looks really cool too. I do want to play Sandland. I'm going to eventually play that game. I'm still slowly going through Unicorn Overlord. I know I've been playing that for the last number of weeks. My time recently to play games has been less and less, but I'm about like 35, almost 40 hours into Unicorn Overlord, and I'm really like trying to do almost everything in that game because it's awesome. So I will definitely be checking it. Sandland looks really, really cool though. I do want to play that. Hey, Dayreezy, appreciate that. Appreciate you coming by, enjoying the content. But yeah, Hellblade 2 is going to be a nice shorter experience, which it helps with the backlog as well. I'm at this stage now in 2024 where I am going to limit myself for a little bit until the games are cheaper. Like Sandland, I'll probably wait for a sale for it or something, but I'm going to be limiting myself right now to Game Pass releases and my backlog of games that I've purchased physically and digitally that I haven't gotten to yet, because I have so many stuff to jump into. And now we're hearing about this, the surge in Fallout player bases. For Fallout 76 in particular got a big surge. Fallout 4 is getting that next gen or current gen upgrade, whatever you want to call it, which I'm actually quite interested in playing Fallout 4 again and going through it with the full Xbox Series X features. So that's something I want to play. And then Fallout 76, I mean, I played a bit of that. I know it's gotten way better now. There's a lot of people playing into it. I'm feeling that FOMO of wanting to go ahead and download and play Fallout 76 because of the TV show and everything. I watched episode 1 of the TV show. It's really, really good so far. So I will be continuing to watch that. And it takes a lot for me to get into TV shows. Just whenever I have free time, I want to play video games. But there's 2 that I've been watching recently, which is X-Men 97, which is the most recent episode, was incredible. And then Fallout. I started Fallout last night actually and finished episode 1. Long episode. It was like an hour and 15 minutes. Kick it off, but it was really good. It was really, really good. I saw there was a debate on, maybe I'll pull it up and see, but there was a debate on social media about, I think it was Destin who was saying that he liked it better than The Last of Us. And of course, if you compare IPs, even if it's in a TV show, you are going to get the console wars coming. And now I don't know, I'll wait and see until the end of the series, but I feel like I probably will like Fallout better than The Last of Us TV show. Last of Us was good, but I mean, just Fallout was, I was surprised. I was shocked at how good episode 1 actually was. Unlike Halo, which when I was season 1, episode 1 was okay. Like I thought season 1 was good, like the action at the beginning and everything. And then I got to, it went out really way downhill for me after episode 1 of the Halo TV series. So I hope Fallout doesn't happen. But from everything I'm reading and seeing about the TV show, that it looks like it is not going to be the case, which is great. And it's getting me hyped up for just playing some more Fallout games. And that's exactly what these TV shows do, right? It gets you into games and older IPs that just you haven't played in a while. The game has been out for a number of years. Because when did Fallout 4 come out? 2015 or something? And it gets you excited to go back and check out these games that's been in your backlog or you haven't played yet. And that's why making these TV shows is a smart move for expanding out brand recognition and all that stuff. Matthew, welcome to Plume Pass. I appreciate that. Welcome to the members. He said it's better than The Last of Us. That's what triggered many. He should have said I liked it more than The Last of Us. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, his opinion is it is better. Thing is, people read. There's no. Twitter is like you can write anything, and people will misinterpret it in a way that to be angry about it. Especially in today's day and age, especially in today's climate of social media and politics and everything. It's like anything you say, people will just get angry about it for some reason or another, which is just the way the world is right now. Adidas20 with the $2 super chat. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for the $2 super chat and supporting the channel. It really means a lot. Appreciate that. But yeah, social media is a wild, or at least Twitter is wild west. I feel like I've curated my feed relatively well. The problem is though, when you click on one thing that is off of what you actually really are mostly interested in on X, is that your whole feed then starts feeding you all of the stuff related to that one thing you clicked on, but you don't actually want to see any of it, and it's very annoying. What's up, Gamer for Life? Twitter's a digital drug. Yeah, it essentially is, because you're always getting that dopamine hit. My activity on Twitter is like, I look at it, it's a lot of retweets, and it's very sporadic when I put out stuff. But I can definitely, that it is definitely the kind of a digital drug, because sometimes when, like, I've even put out tweets that have gotten hundreds of likes or whatever, right? And you're just like always trying to replicate that, but it's always hot takes. It's always hot takes. I get like the biggest likes. Hey, you like the shirt? Tetris, let's go. The greatest video games of all time. Have I ever played Tetris? Of course I've played Tetris. Many different variations of it as well. I'm not very good at it, but I've definitely played. I mean, who hasn't played Tetris? I think my mom's even played Tetris. I'll have to ask her. Dopamine from YouTube and Twitter is ruining our gaming sessions. We are too overdosed on a lot of dopamine. Yeah, that's a good point. People spend more time talking about games on Twitter than they do actually playing video games, and it's very apparent. Should watch the movie. I've heard that the movie is good. Yeah, I should watch it. I definitely should watch it. Although I do not have Apple Plus. Wonder if there's any other way. I'm sure there are other ways, but when there's any other legal ways. To watch the movie. What's up, boss quackers? What is up? Let me just take a look here. I think FSR 3.1 on Xbox has 60 FPS in quality mode. I don't believe so, no. Because, I mean, there's one game. What is the game right now that has, it's Immortals of Avium, right? That is using FSR 3.1. and it's still not getting 60 FPS in quality mode. But I do believe that is going to be the main thing for these next gen consoles, and even like the PS5 Pro that we keep hearing all these details about, and everyone's looking at the specs of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and myself included. And of course, like, yeah, 45% GPU bump, great, but 10% CPU bump, there's still that huge bottleneck for a lot of these games that are CPU heavy that is affecting the frame rates. So I feel like it's nonsensical to even put that console out unless PlayStation's secret sauce of that PSSR is actually significant enough to make these games perform more consistently. To me, there's just no point. What's the point of putting out a PlayStation 5 Pro if you're going to get a slight bump and then you're going to charge people $150 more or whatever the price is going to be on that thing? My guess is that the PS5 Pro is going to come out. They're going to cut the price of the regular PS5 by maybe 50, maybe $100 if we're lucky, like around that. And then you're going to have like the PS5 Pro selling for 500, 550, maybe, whatever the price is. What is the price of the PS5 right now in American? Because I know in Canada it's stupid. It's still going for like jeez, yeah, it's still $650 in Canada for a PlayStation 5 Slim console with the disc drive. That's insane. $650 for that. That's like a ripoff. But so $650, let's say they cut it down to $550. Yeah, they'll probably do something like that. PS5 $550, which I'm guessing would be $499 in the US as well. So I'm guessing PS5 $399. Then you'll have PS5 Pro at like $499 or $549 or something when they do put it out. That's my guess. So people are gonna have to be making that decision. Who are they appealing to? It's going to be tech enthusiasts or console enthusiasts. But then the reality is, like, how much of a boost is there actually going to be? How much of a difference is there going to be between a PS5 version and a PS5 Pro version? Because I don't think people are going to, like, if it's like, okay, you have steadier quality modes and it's still not 60 frames per second, people are still not going to go for that as much. They want, like, people want 60 FPS. That's the more popular option. Most people are playing in performance mode, from what I understand. I mean, I play most of my games in performance mode. Hellblade, I'd probably play that in quality mode, because I don't think like 60 FPS is like going to be a game changer for that game at all. Yeah, it'll be smoother and stuff, but it is definitely it's slower. You're walking, you're doing these puzzles. The same thing with the game that came out, I think it was the launch year, the Medium, where they had that. I thought it was a really cool concept that it'd be cool to see more of, where you had two screens at the same time, the different worlds, but because of that, they were having to render the scenes twice, so they had to make, the game was 30 frames per second, but that game was super slow. It was like you were walking and you were exploring, and the 30 FPS, people were complaining about it, and it really did not affect the game at all. I actually thought it was a good game. What makes people think devs will magically spend millions making a new version of their game specifically for the PS5? They will do the least as always. That's true too. For games that are already in development, most of them are probably not taking advantage at all of this PSSR or the extra boost and stuff. But it could be games that are very early in development, or games that are coming out in like 2026 or something, that you may see that, because that's the truth of it, right? I mean, we're 4 years into this generation, and you still have people out there asking, why did they even, like, why are they putting out pro consoles? We haven't seen what these consoles can do yet, and we're 4 years into Series X and PS5. So if we haven't seen what these consoles can do, or at least that's from the consumer's perspective, for a lot of consumers, that we haven't seen what these consoles can do yet, when the PS5 Pro comes out, if it takes a similar amount of time to get the full juice out of it, you're not going to be getting anything significant of an upgrade for that until a couple of years at least. Yeah, devs definitely do have their limits. But it's true, the whole debate is, the whole thing is true right now. It's like if the Pro console comes out, you've already spent $500 on a PS5 or an Xbox, and they put out a Pro version, you're going to spend another $500 or whatever. At what point do you just say, if you really care so much about the most power, you really care so much about making sure that you have the highest frame rates for every single game, well, what point does that consumer just say, I'm going to get a PC? Because that's a niche market. As much as you see the chatter online and you see the fake outrage or real, whatever you want to call it, the people who overblow everything whenever anything gets announced, and there's a, you know how it goes. That is such a niche market, and it probably has almost, I would say, barely any effect on how successful these games are, how successful these companies are, how successful these consoles are. Same thing with the this may be a hard truth, but it's the reality, at least in my opinion. But I think it is the true reality when these companies look at the numbers. So maybe I shouldn't say it's the reality. I should say it's my opinion. But I think it's if I had to take a bet, I would say my opinion here is correct. That when we were hearing about those games going over to PS5 and to the Switch, and then they announced the 4 games going over, and they say there may be more games in the future or whatever. As of right now, it doesn't matter. But when that happened and you saw all of the insanity online, like just the overblown outrage from a lot of people, or even if you were super angry about that, the reality is that is still a minority, more niche consumer's perspective on this stuff. And it does not have that big of an effect as we think, just because people are very loud on social media. Their actual effect on what happens here and the decisions these companies make is probably very, very little. Because the average consumer could have not cared less about Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush and Grounded and Pentiment going over to another console. The average consumer did not care. The average person going to the Best Buy the next day to buy a console didn't know and didn't care. And that's where most of the people who are purchasing these consoles, even now 4 years into the generation, most of those people don't care. And those are the people that are going out and buying these consoles anyways. So at what point, if there's a Pro console, for the enthusiast, do you just say, hey, I'm just going to build instead of spending $1,000 on these consoles, like 1,000 on the first version, then another, or 500 on the first version, then 500 on the Pro or whatever, or even if you sell your first version, at what point do you just say, I'm now going to invest into a PC? I'm not going to invest into PC. As for me, for myself, I still have not invested into, I invested into a PC in 2018 and I didn't go overblown for anything. So my PC right now, 2080 in it essentially plays games like the Series X. Obviously it's more powerful than the Series X slightly, or I don't know if you, maybe a bit more than slightly, but like when there are games on the Series X that are not hitting 60 FPS, like these newer AAA games, my 2080 isn't doing it either. It's not doing 4K 60. It's not doing even 1440p solid 60 probably for a lot of these games that are missing on the X. And I don't even play, I play 90% of my games on my Xbox. So although I would consider myself an enthusiast in the sense that I do love keeping on top of technology and knowing about it, and I will buy the consoles day one. So I would consider myself an enthusiast that way. I would I've learned more about myself a little bit this generation, where it's like I do get hyped up, but like I want that 60 FPS performance mode. That's how I prefer to play. And when you see like the craziness of some graphics in these games, I do get very hyped up, but I'm also the same person that plays on my Xbox Series S all the time. And I enjoy my gaming experience. So the reality is graphics and performance are far less important than I think a lot of people make it out to be. I mean, just look at how successful the Nintendo Switch is. And that thing, people like, oh, well, as much as Pokemon, and I like the Pokemon games, as much as the Scarlet and Violet had such terrible performance when they were launched, look how many of the copies that sold. Most people didn't care. Yeah, and you gotta think about like when you were a kid, right, playing games, you probably didn't think about half of this stuff. When you were young, you probably didn't think about half of the performance and resolutions, and you weren't zooming in on pixels and stuff. You're just having fun playing games. That's way a lot of people play games. I'm just going off on a random rant here. Average consumers don't even know about it. That's true. That's the absolute truth of it. They don't. So that's why you always got to remind yourself, when if you're on social media, it's like the outrage and the crazy opinions that some people have really mean, they really have no effect. Texture quality, shadows, and reflections are more important than resolution. Yeah, the way that the game looks, even the art style, to me, is more important than just the pure resolution of a game. Pokemon 8 times speed forward. Yeah. Well, they've greatly improved the Pokemon games in terms of, like, you don't have to sit through as much stuff. Especially with like the most recent one, you can just throw a Pokemon out there and they can go battle without you actually having to go and do the battles, and they can gain XP and level up. So that makes things far less tedious. Got Scarlet with the $2 super chat. I appreciate that, Scarlet. The Dead Space news is disappointing, and I would agree with that. I was very actually confused about the Dead Space news, because I originally was thinking that the first Dead Space remake was sold extremely well. This is another example of how social media does not reflect the realities of what's actually happening, because the Dead Space remake, everyone was talking about it, and there was so much hype around it, and there was so much excitement when that game was announced and then when it came out. So I was like, okay, this game's probably done very well commercially. A lot of people are really enjoying it, but now you're hearing the rumors that they didn't sell well enough, and then so they're stopping the remake of Dead Space 2. But we also have conflicting information there as well, right? I think EA said it was what Jeff Grubb was saying wasn't true, and I think Jason Schreier as well. I have to double check that. He was essentially saying the same thing, that that wasn't exactly true, that they had stopped the remake. But either way, yeah, it is disappointing if they had even considered doing part 2 remake and then decided to, hey, pull the plug on that. Well, I appreciate the super chat there, Scarlett. Xbox will absolutely like, we know that's what they're doing essentially, is opening up their software to help expand their ecosystem out. And to me, that's a pretty exciting prospect, because they will have their first party, like, it's, you think about it, right? It's exactly what they do right now with Windows. They have their Surface lineup, and then they take their obviously Windows, and they distribute it to all of the computer manufacturers, and then you have all of these options, and you get to actually choose exactly how the hardware you want to be able to compute, if that makes any sense. So let's say they take the Xbox OS, they basically do the same thing with Windows, and they just distribute it out to all of these PC handhelds like Asus, like Lenovo, to just general companies out there that want to make at-home consoles. And you're gonna have Xbox, potentially the Asus Xbox, right? Or the Lenovo Xbox. Like, those are things that potentially could be the future of what they are thinking about going forward. But then you'll also have the Xbox from Microsoft, which you would think it would be a top of the line, a premium gaming console, for at least the at-home console. And then they're making the money off of licensing the OS, and then you have that option. And then hopefully, what I'd be cool to see is if this next gen, if they make their consoles actually upgradable, where you can add extra parts to it, you can add more memory, you can upgrade the GPU or whatever somehow. I don't know, just basically make it a PC, and then you can just incrementally always have what you need to be able to get the performance you want out of the box itself. I do see that kind of happening, and especially for the handhelds, I can see that happening, and that's desperately needed, because all of these PC handheld manufacturers had no forethought into how these things would actually operate in the consumer's hands. And now I get it, like Windows on the PC handheld on my ROG Ally, it's fine. You use Armory Crate, you open up the Xbox app, you launch your game, whatever, it works fine. But it is still kind of a shitty experience overall than if you could have actually had a custom console OS, even just the Xbox OS on there. That would be so much better. It's like when I use it for remote play, you're just using the Xbox OS, and it's kind of gives you a feeling as to how that would feel on the handheld itself. That would just be 100 times better, and they need to do that. I think that'd be a great move if they were just licensing that out to all of these different PC handhelds as well, on top of obviously giving their own thing. I mean, they already do that, right? And they do with Surface, so they may do that again with Xbox. PS Portal is cool. Well, but you prefer the Xbox ecosystem. PS Portal, I had one and I returned it. It just didn't work well for me. But I've seen other people say it works fine for them. It would have just been my internet connection. But it was also just kind of a waste for me as well, to be completely honest, because I just don't play my PS5 that much. I played the Stellar Blade demo. That was cool. But overall, and I have a PSVR2, which I've been kind of getting back into recently. I just wish that they would release some actual first-party games for it, and I can't wait until they actually let that thing work on PC, because they said they have been working on that. Because the actual PSVR2 headset, the tech itself is very good. And no matter what anyone says about the actual failure of that device, because there are no first-party games for it, and that's why I think a lot of people bought PSVR2. That aside, the tech in that headset is great. And if they allow you to put that on PC and actually play some of these really cool PC VR games, that will be a great move. Are we going to see some innovations for the next Switch? I don't think so. If I'll be completely honest, I do not think so. Just a slight upgrade. They don't need to do much for the next Switch. They really don't. They should just offer another opportunity, I guess, for people to get into the Nintendo ecosystem, right? And play games that are better. They have to upgrade the tech, because they'll lose. That's where you'll actually lose third-party support, where games literally just cannot run. People look at the Series S and they're like, oh, they're going to lose third-party support, because no, but games can still run on the Series S. One way or another, they can run. And we just talked about that the average consumer doesn't care too much about the performance and the resolutions. They just want to play these games, and so the Series S is fine. But with the current Nintendo, the 2017 one, there's just games like just can't run on that thing. So they have to just make a Honestly, like a Series S level device is probably what they're going to end up doing. People are projecting even slightly less than that, just so that they can keep games still running on it. I'm hoping at least that they give a good OLED. Actually, I don't even think it's going to be OLED from the rumors, but that's what my hope was. I'm hoping maybe, I don't know, there are just some more features to bring it up to modern day, at least with the online functionality and stuff. That's the one thing, but that wouldn't even be in the hardware side of things. Maybe there'll be some better haptics in the controllers, but I don't see anything crazy coming from the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo is making cardboard games, remember? That is Nintendo Labo, right? Yeah. Yeah, do they even do that anymore? I'm not sure. I think that did decent at launch for sure. Nintendo can do anything pretty much that they want. They have the consumer base for it. Because they have so when we talk about Xbox and PlayStation wanting to expand their ecosystem set to reach a broader range of consumers, they're one of the examples they have right in front of them is Nintendo. But it's different because Nintendo is a closed ecosystem, and I don't see them really expanding out too much. But one of the reasons why they don't have to, well, I think there's like two main reasons why they don't have to, and one is their games cost significantly less to make. They're not spending $300 million to make Super Mario Wonder, right? And they're selling like insane amounts of copies of it. So that's probably the main reason why Nintendo won't have to expand out like PlayStation and Xbox. But the other thing is, like, their consumer base is already broad as it can be. Whereas Xbox and PlayStation are not. Xbox and PlayStation have a very, I think, a far more targeted demographic based off of the style of games that they make. I think Xbox has a larger, more broad demographic than PlayStation, but definitely PlayStation, a very, very specific demographic who play their games, right? Because they make the same games. They're third-person action adventure. They're more mature games. Like they have a very specific demographic. But Nintendo literally has everyone. They have kids. They have grandmas, and then everybody in between. So they're already very broad in the people that they do reach. And a lot of that has to do with nostalgia and going back to all the way to the NES and everything for a lot of people. So it is a different game, I think, when it comes to Nintendo. Now, will that ever change? Probably not too much in the near future because they're not playing the power game anymore. They don't care. They're not having to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to develop their games. Xbox and PlayStation are still playing the power game. And I think they always will be. But Xbox is getting smart about it, I think, upcoming when you hear the rumors about the handheld. And they kind of, that's the other thing too with the Series S, right? They're kind of like, they're playing the power game, but they know that the power game isn't what wins. And the Series S is an indicator of that because the Series S has sold a ton for them. Yeah, Roberto, I can't wait for Gear 6 either. That's my most anticipated thing right now from Xbox. Out of everything, Gear 6, after hearing what we know or what we've heard that it's going to be, people are not ready for it. So that's probably my most, because I'm a big Gears fan. In fact, I was just playing Gears. I just played through Gears again the last month or so, playing through it on my ROG Ally. We need a handheld and Steam on Xbox and I'm all set. Yeah, that would be cool. Steam, like the whole Steam thing is interesting. I don't know. How would they even go about that? It would be a big deal if they were able to get that. Pouring myself a nightcap. I got 105 of you guys in here. How's everyone doing? 105 of you here just listening to me ramble. Sorry that the show is just me right now, just kind of hanging out. I mean, my streams are always just sporadic on kind of what I do because I feel like my daily show is nice and structured. So streaming, just hang out, just talk. Sometimes it'll be more structured, but generally hang out and talk. Is it even a realistic possibility see when Xbox? I think if they were to license out the Xbox OS where you're getting Xbox on different platforms or from different manufacturers, then maybe potentially they're basically just making it a PC. But like, you gotta ask what would be the reason for that. And I think the reason would be people would be like, why don't you just build a PC then? I think the reason again comes down to convenience and price. To me, those are the two major. People always look at first party. The two major reasons why are the major reason you put them together. Why people buy consoles is convenience and price. It's not first party content. It's convenience and price. You walk into a store and you want to play the latest video game. You know exactly where you'd go to play the latest video game. It's PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo, depending on. But generally, it's like for third party, PlayStation. You want to play the latest Call of Duty, PlayStation or Xbox, right? And then it's the price. That's why people buy consoles more so than anything. If I had to guess, what do I think will be shown at the Xbox showcase? Well, I don't know. I think it will be a lot of games. I think if the last few years have shown us anything, is that Xbox brings these games on the showcases. They have done very, very well. So there'll be a large list of games. I think Gears for sure. We're finally getting our first look of it. The Call of Duty stuff I definitely think's happening. Like I think it's the perfect time, right, to bring out and announce that, like, hey, we're here. We own ABK. We own Activision. We own Call of Duty. Let's show off the latest Call of Duty at our showcase. Let's get all the marketing towards Xbox now for Call of Duty, because we know how big of a push Call of Duty does for a console and for a brand if you have the marketing rights. We saw it happen with the 360. We saw it happen with the PS4. It's coming back to Xbox. So they're going to go hard on Call of Duty. See a look at the latest game. And then I think we will get a bunch of Game Pass stuff as usual. I feel like Sega is going to have a nice, like, either with Atlas or just some Sega games will be there. Just kind of, that's kind of what we've seen recently. And we know they have a good relationship. I feel like we will get something from Square Enix. I do think we will see something from them, whether that is maybe an announcement that you're going to be able to play Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox. I think that will happen at some point. And then I think just more looks at the games that are coming out, more first party stuff. Like we'll see Avowed, we'll probably see Clockwork Revolution, Flight Sim 2024, and we'll probably get some nice ABK drops into Game Pass. So I think there'll just be a lot of stuff. It'll be a good showcase for sure. But the showpiece is going to be Gear 6. If they come out with and they blow people away with Gear 6 with the way that it looks, and my hope is if it's just going to be a sizzle trailer, which I think that's probably all it will be. I hope it's like one of those sizzle trailers with cuts of, like, you see the cutscenes, but then they have like glimpses of the actual gameplay to see the difference in it. The thing with Gears too, it's like Gears 5 is an insanely good looking game and playing game. So to think that they're going to be able to greatly improve on that is pretty exciting. And to think that it's potentially going to be better looking or more advanced than Hellblade 2, which Hellblade 2 is a much smaller game, at least in the scope of the gameplay. So you're able to put a lot more details in those types of games than you are with bigger, more open world, more, yes, gameplay heavy games. That's the best way I can put it. Now, I don't know if Gear 6 will be open world. It could. They had open world sections, but they could be more open world. I don't know how many people want that, but yeah. It'll be a great showcase either way. The last two showcases have been good. I expect nothing less. I think it will be the showcase that is better than all the other showcases that occur this showcase season. I have no real doubts or questions about the Xbox showcase. I think it'll be great. What I honestly more questions about is PlayStation going to have a showcase this summer? And what are they going to show if they do? Will there be anything first party, even stuff coming out next year? Or is it going to be more third parties and more just kind of filler waiting for the first party stuff to be shown? Because there's a huge cloud of questions and uncertainty surrounding PlayStation's first party right now. Like, what is happening? What is coming out from them? Hey, Brandon, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Gears 5 is still one of the best games available today, regardless of console. It is a great game. I want to play Gears 4 again. I'm downloading that, actually. So I just finished I played through the first Gears of War again for some reason. This is why I never get through my backlog. Because instead of picking a random game in my backlog to play on, like, because I usually have two games on the go. I have my main one right now is Unicorn Overlord, and then I have a side game. And instead of picking a side game, a smaller side game, 10-hour, 15-hour length or whatever, I decided to play Gears of War again. So, and now I'm downloading Gears 4, which I want to, because Gears 4, for some reason, I remember I really enjoyed it, but for some reason, it's like I need a refresher for Gears 4. So I want to get through that again. Nana's boss, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How you been? Nothing for a year and a half until baby steps, I'm afraid. Well, there's that rumor of that Astrobot game, and to be completely honest, I actually thought Astrobot was awesome when they as a pack-in, and I was really hoping that they would make more and make a bigger game. I love 3D platformers. I've always loved 3D platformers my whole life. So I want more 3D platformers. I hope ABK brings out some new Spyros, some new Crashes. Let's get some Banjo back. Hope Xbox brings that stuff back. Foam Stars 2. Yeah. We are waiting on Gear 6. Absolutely. Absolutely. And from what we're hearing, it's going to blow us. It's going to blow us away. Which is. Yeah. I mean, we've seen what the Coalition can do with the Matrix demo. They definitely seem like wizards at Xbox first party in terms of pulling the most out of a console or pulling the most. They seem like it's like, I guess, look at something like the Last of Us when it was released on the PS3 at the end of that generation, which was insane how good that game looked. I feel like Coalition is that developer at Xbox that's going to be able to pull every last piece of juice out of the Series X and the Series S. Hopefully the Gears War collection is real. Yeah, to me, the Gears War collection is just an absolute no-brainer. I'm actually surprised it hasn't been announced. It hasn't been released yet. But it depends when Gear 6 is coming out. Like if Gear 6 is a 2026 release or something, then I can get why they're probably waiting to release the Gears collection, because they want to put it out. They don't want to have a huge gap between Gears collection and Gear 6. They want people still to be hyped and still enjoying the Gears universe while waiting for Gear 6. So I feel like if it's 2020, late 2025, early 2026 release or something, we may get Gears collection at the end of this year or whatever if they want, or at the beginning of 2025 or something. I don't know. Because that's kind of what they did with the MCC, right? It was, they put out the MCC in 2014 and then Halo 5 came out in 2015. Believe? Gotta check my dates here. Yeah. So that's what they did. And it's too bad the MCC had a bad launch, but that's turned into problem. In my opinion, the Master Chief Collection is by far the best single compilation of video games in one package ever created, especially now with everything they did to that game. You think Xbox will make more backwards compatible games again now that they own ABK? I do think so. I do think that they will be able to, it'll be easier, at least they own those licenses, or they own the IP, so the negotiation with like licenses with music and sound and all that stuff will be overall easier. And we also obviously heard that Sarah Bonin is starting the new team for game preservation, whatever that means. That I think is a great thing. But at the same time, I want to know exactly what she means by that and what that team is going to be doing, because they had a backwards compatibility team that got shut down essentially, right? The whole backwards compatibility program got shut down, I'm guessing because they had to cut costs, and the ROI of negotiating more licenses for some more backwards compatible games a very small amount of people would be making is just not there. That being said, any form of backwards compatibility, I would say generally has very little monetary benefit to these companies, which is why it's a very consumer friendly goodwill move that Xbox has been doing with their backwards compatibility stuff. So yeah, I think they will. Basically, I that's long-winded response. Yeah, I think they will. They have so many games and so many IPs now. They have to think about preserving them for the future. I think Xbox will actually buy Square Enix. No, I do not. I do not. I just don't think. Like at this point, honestly, why? I guess to stop PlayStation from money hiding games, but I feel like Xbox and Phil Spencer they've already established now that they are going to be getting Square Enix games into the future, and I guess it would be to get into Japan. That would be huge. But they just have so many studios now, and they have to make back their money on ABK. Like I don't know if they would even get a green light to go out and purchase Square Enix right now. I think it's just too soon. Maybe at the start of next generation. I think right now, no. I don't think so. But who knows? Nobody thought they were going to buy Bethesda. Nobody thought they were going to buy ABK. I think Xbox can do a lot if they want to grow in Japan by just going out and finding smaller studios that make great games that people in those regions love and that people in the West will love as well. Like, I think that, to me, could be a smarter move. I think they would if they didn't have such a hard time with ABK. That's it. That's true too. But the thing is, Xbox G is definitely preparing. They are setting themselves up to have, I think, easier times with big acquisitions by putting games onto PlayStation and putting games onto Nintendo. That's the one thing that people, I think no one really thinks about, right? It's like everyone got outraged about them putting games on PlayStation, but now like they have that full leverage if they are going to go out and make a huge acquisition to say, hey, look, we're not going to be trying to use these games to foreclose the PlayStation brand because we literally put games on their platform. They're skipping Japan. They're going for China. Yeah, well, yeah, that's actually kind of true with that whole NetEase deal. Yeah. Yeah. My theory with Xbox specifically in Japan is they know that no matter how many 10 out of 10 exclusives they make, how many great games that they have, Japanese gamers are not buying Xboxes. They just aren't. Think about the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360, I think, sold 1.36 million, roughly around that in Japan, which is good for Xbox in Japan, I would say. But what did the 360 have that the Series X and S and the Xbox One do not have, which you would think would help them sell tons of games, tons of consoles in Japan? The 360 had exclusive games in Japan that were only there. You had to import them if you wanted them here. They had a bunch of Japanese titles, right? And it still only sold 1.66 million in Japan. And now they don't have that stuff, so they're selling even less. They're basically non-existent there. So they know no matter how many games they have, no matter how many Japanese exclusive games they have, the Xbox just does not sell there. So how do you gain market share in the Japanese market? Is you put the games where people are. This is exactly what they're doing with putting games onto PlayStation and to Nintendo. You put games where the gamers want to play, and you make money off of them that way. And then you could do things like trying to potentially get them into a different market, which is handheld. Handheld is a different market than the console market. So they put out a handheld, or they license their Xbox OS to other handhelds. So other manufacturers can release their handhelds with an Xbox OS on it or whatever, and they make money those ways. I think that consoles in Japan are no more, and you do the whole cloud thing, right? So that's why that market for them, they have to attack it in a different way. There's no more, okay, let's release 10 great exclusives, straight 10 out of 10s. We're going to sell like gangbusters in Japan. It's just not going to happen. They have to come up with different strategies, which is what they've been doing. Lotus, welcome with the 199 super chat. Appreciate it, Lotus. Welcome to the stream. Why are people so obsessed with Japan and their sales? Who cares? Just make the brand better overall. PlayStation sales, but they primarily are used as third party. Why bother? Yeah, that's, I guess I'd say people are probably obsessed with it is because it seems like it's a huge opportunity for growth, and it's kind of interesting to try to see how they can do better there, right? I think like that part's interesting. I don't really care how they sell, but I think it would be interesting to see how they tackle it from a business side and what strategies they're doing. And when you sit back and you look at what they're kind of trying to do here, it makes sense. Put the games where they are, no matter what, and build that brand that way. So someone's playing an Xbox first party game. I'm trying to think of one that this top played game there that they were like, I don't know, but let's just say like all of a sudden people in Japan they're playing Hellblade 2 when it comes out, and then they're playing it via the cloud. Or let's say hypothetically, no, I'm not saying this is going to happen, and I don't want to trigger anyone, but like hypothetically, they put it out on PS5, and they're playing Hellblade 2 a year from now or something on PS5, and they're seeing how insanely incredible this game looks, and then they realize it's an Xbox game. Then they may go and check out the Game Pass. They may go check out what other games Xbox has. So I think that's kind of what they're trying to do there. Japan game sales are low in general. That's true. Well, that's the whole thing right now going on. There's discussion about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the overall sales, and whether keeping it exclusive really hurt that game. And it looks like it may have. Not that the game didn't sell. Not that the game like sold extremely terribly, but Rebirth is actually selling about half of what Remake did. So there's a tweet from Daniel Ma saying that Rebirth is underperforming sales wise. Not that sales performance is related to whatever that he was responding to. It says it's selling about half of what Remake sold in the same time frame, and looks like it'll have a weaker tail prior to any PS Plus like release. And that's a game that would have a huge audience there. Huge audience in the West as well. The Final Fantasy is mainstream at this point everywhere. But that's a game that did not benefit sales-wise, I would say, from exclusivity. Square Enix still got their bag, right? Even if their sales don't hit as high as they think it could, they still got their bag from making it exclusive. PlayStation is huge in the USA. Yeah, PlayStation's huge everywhere. The PlayStation brand is far more global than the Xbox brand. Mobile's taking Japan by storm. That's why they're gonna put a handheld out. Get those mobile gamers in there. You bought the new small black Series S, perfect for trial. It's nice. Got that extra memory on there, which is good. That terabyte storage. I finally cracked and I finally bought the expansion card because it finally got to a good price. It was on sale and everything, so I finally picked one up, and that thing is actually a nice game changer when your Series S only has 512 gigabytes, even less than that after all the OS and stuff, and you just put games on there, and then they copy so fast back and forth from the expansion card. That was actually a nice surprise. I knew it was fast from seeing videos and stuff, but it really does. Like if I want to take a game to my Series S and X, it just keep it on there, and you don't have to worry about re-downloading it or anything. Or want to transfer a game. Transfer speeds are nice and fast. Most Japanese switch to phone games which are free, co-op and or multiplayer with alliances and never ending, and a ton of turn-based RPGs. Interesting. Well, there's the whole mobile side of thing, right? If mobile's taking Japan by storm, now Xbox has a huge mobile division of games with King. And then obviously like Call of Duty Mobile and stuff. I don't know if they play that there, but Diablo Immortals and stuff like that. When you buy exclusives for Square Enix, bottom line, but it's because they are too lazy to port to all platforms. I see. This is my question, and there's people on my channel who say they're developers, and I don't know if they're just saying that or if they actually are truly developers and they would have knowledge on this. I would love to know how honestly much harder is it to port a game from PlayStation to Xbox or vice versa, because the reality is they're both the exact same machines, right? They have different SDKs, of course, but they are the exact same with slightly different CPUs and slightly different GPUs, both AMD, both the exact same architecture. So how much harder is it truly to get the game from PlayStation to Xbox? Because when I think about porting games from one console to the other and it being a difficult process, where if you're a developer, you're like, oh, okay, I don't really like, I don't want to waste that much time doing this. I think about PS3 and the Xbox 360 when there was the cell architecture versus the 360, or going back even to like when there were consoles where the games were literally different on each version of the console, like the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, right? So but now from PS4 onward, PS4 and Xbox One onwards, they're basically the exact same under the hood. So I'd be super interested to know how much different it is. Maybe it's because of all the certification processes. I feel like that's probably more what it is. It's probably the certification processes to get the game certified by each company that's more time consuming than the actual porting it to the exact same machine. Hey, JJ saying, notice the Titans pillow used to live in Tennessee. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, big Titans fan. I live in Canada, but I'm a huge Titans fan. I've been a Titans fan since forever. But what got me to be a Titans fan was the Steve McNair and Eddie George era. That's made me a huge Titans fan. So I've been a huge fan since then, and they're looking like they could be. I'm surprised this offseason. They had some great signings this offseason. I'm actually very optimistic. Before the offseason started, I was very sad when they fired Variable and stuff, and I thought it was just going to be another long 10 years of shitty Titans teams, but they had a good offseason, so I'm actually pretty optimistic. I appreciate the 199 super chat, JJ. Appreciate that. So any devs in the chat, if there are, or if any dev ever watches this live stream at a later date, please DM me. Let me know how it works. Write it in the comments. I want to know how actual difficult it is to port these games from PlayStation to Xbox, or the other way around. I would understand like trying to make a game work for the Nintendo Switch, but I mean, you have the wizards at literally the wizards, I guess, of no pun intended, but at Avalanche, who got Hogwarts Legacy to work on the Nintendo Switch, got to work on the Xbox One, and that's their first big. That's their first big big AAA game, wasn't it? Am I wrong? Avalanche Software, WB, of course. I mean, they're being backed by WB, but like they didn't work on anything as big as Hogwarts Legacy before. This is a studio that was able to create one of the best games last year, then port it to the Switch and the last generation consoles. And if you played that game, it is a big game. It's a huge game. It's very detailed. And they were able to do it. But then you have devs out there that are like, oh, it's too hard to port from the PS5 to the Xbox Series X and S. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm way out of my element when it comes to that. So I don't know, maybe that's why, but I would love to know more about that. Aren't they making Contraband? That is a different Avalanche. There's Avalanche Software. And then there is, I believe, right? Avalanche Software. And then there's Avalanche Studios Group or whatever. That the team behind like Just Cause and Rage and Mad Max. Those are the ones making Contraband. Which, by the way, what is happening with Contraband? Because we saw that a while ago. That's a game I hope shows up at the showcase, because I want to see what that is all about. We don't really know what Contraband is right now, though. Well, no, we don't, but you can kind of guess it's like a co-op, like thievery heist style of game. That's kind of what I think, what we saw. Oh, Visions of Mana. I can't wait for that too. That's another one. That's another game. It's like my backlog is. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to not buy some of these new games as I try to complete more backlog games, to complete more Game Pass games. But Visions of Mana is one that was on my radar. By the way, we have 120 7 of you in here. I appreciate that. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you're new to the channel and stuff. 127. And there's still like Dragon's Dogma 2 I want to play. Non-stop. But now it's spring/summer in Canada. There's snow's melted. It's getting warmer, so I have to go outside and touch grass. So it's like, I gotta find the time for these games. I hope to see the Gears collection as well. I really, really do. I'm tired of the rumors too. Black Knight. Gears is probably up. Gears is my top 3 franchises of all time. That's why, like, people are like, oh, are you excited for the Xbox showcase this year? What do you want to see? And it's like, there's so many good games at Xbox and I'm excited to see them all. But if they just show me Gear 6 and they give me like a nice, like, look at the game, I'll be happy. Everything else is going to be secondary to me versus seeing Gear 6. And imagine, and if we get a Gears collection with that, it's a no-brainer because look how cool the MCC is, and they can continue to expand on that and just have constant great multiplayer action with all the maps in one nice launcher where you don't have to jump around between the different games themselves. It's all in one place. That would be super cool. A gun remake? Yeah, that'd be cool. I hope Fable's at the showcase as well. Fable, I mean, the whole discussion about like Fable is gonna be a funny, interesting one because the whole discourse online now is about the what was it, fairy or whatever, and the design of her. That's the whole discourse online right now. Zelda, Elder Scrolls, and Mario. Is that your top 3? That's a great top 3. Zelda's in my top 3 as well. I love Mario, but I don't know if it's in my, because like Halo's up there as well for me. Maybe it's like Zelda, Halo, and Gears, maybe my top 3. But yeah, I mean, I've played, like, I gotta play, besides Super Mario Wonder, which I haven't gotten into yet. I've played pretty much every Mario game, every Zelda game, pretty much. I'm trying to think if there's any Zelda. There may be like a DS Zelda game that I haven't played, or a 3DS one. I don't know. Like Tears of the Kingdom is an all-time great. Maybe one of my. It's in my top games of all time. It was phenomenal. And that's a game, like, again, it's another thing when you look at power, you look at graphics, it's like that game, it's funny, Tears of the Kingdom on the Nintendo Switch had constant frame rate drops. And no one complained or talked about it. Or at least I didn't notice it. Maybe it's because my social media is curated towards mainly Xbox and PlayStation. There may be people who complain. I'm not sure, but anyways, it's irrelevant to the fact that it was a phenomenal game and most people just didn't care about that. I wonder if we'll see a Blue Dragon remake. That would be insane if we saw that. Was where they randomly dropped the background of it. Yeah, that's true. I feel like it was because I feel like they dropped it because obviously it was a 360 exclusive, but obviously, and maybe also because Akira Toriyama died, so that's maybe why they dropped that, and like as like a tribute to him. But yeah, if they made a remake of that, that'd be phenomenal. But who published? Was it Bandai? Who published it? Was it Xbox who published it? It might. Yeah, it was it was Microsoft Game Studios. So yeah, they could. Who developed it? Sorry, not published it. Mistwalker and Artoon. Yeah. Yeah, so they could, I guess, but I wonder if there's any like licensing. I guess they published it, so. But that would be cool. Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon. Yep. I mean, that's such a, it's crazy. You think about the 360 and like some of the exclusive RPGs, JRPGs that they had, right? Only on Xbox. And that's, again, goes back to the point of, even when they had these great exclusive JRPGs, the 360 still just, they sold 1.6 million in Japan, but minuscule compared to the competition. Microsoft Game Studios actually published Blue Dragon themselves, so yeah, I guess they could. And they also published Lost Odyssey, so I guess they could essentially remake these. And I don't know why. I think it would be a great move to remake them. I think it would be a great move to remake them. True Crime remake. Yeah, those are good games. Thinking about True Crime makes me think about GTA 6 coming out. That's going to be an interesting thing. Will the PS5 Pro have any effect on that, right? Will people actually go pick up PS5 Pros to play GTA 6? I don't think so. I think some people will, but I don't think it'll be a huge needle mover. People will play GTA where they can. Because it's not like it's going to be 60. Well, at least I don't think it will be. I mean, unless that PSSR can come in and just do some crazy magic. But you have Xbox doing their direct SR thing. That they're innovating as, I guess, their competition to DLSS and stuff, which I think DirectXR and PlayStation's solution, whatever they have for the PS6, I'm guessing a PSSR2 or something, will be those are the things that are going to make these future consoles perform adequately. I thought they never play games in 30 FPS. I wonder, it would be an interesting experiment to see if there was no social media, how many people would actually care that much about the FPS. That would be an interesting experiment. All right, Brandon, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Lotus should pick up PS5 Pro to replay everything. Nice. I wonder what the price is going to be on it. Biggest question. What's the price? $549, $599. The sweet spot, I think, for PS5 Pro would be $549 if they drop the PS5 to $399 or something, and then you sell the PS5 Pro for $549. What else would they play if they didn't have social media? Who knows? Who knows? $650. $650 would be a hard sell, because in the States, like $650 would be I think would be a hard sell, but I can see it happening. $650 means $800 in Canada. That's a hard sell. No Ghost of Tsushima 2 in sight. Well, I guess what is Sucker Punch working on right now? Sucker Punch working on a multiplayer game? That was that the other thing? The thing that recently came up? I think that was like the rumor or something. It is such a, this generation has been a very, very weird generation. It is, but it's so completely different than anything that we've ever seen. It is actually the true changing tide of like the gaming industry. It truly is. We just have so many games to play too at this point. It's like, how do these big AAA developers put out their games and capture enough audience when there's so many games out there all the time coming out, especially in the last 2 years, as they're all kind of seemingly piling up one after the other? When 2022 was pretty, like, there was a lull there. I think it was because of the pandemic and games got pushed back and stuff, but now they're all just coming out. So it's like, how do you capture enough audience to make enough money off of the game that you release? People will be trading. Yeah, people. Yeah, that's true. People will trade in. If I wonder what GameStop will give for the for that trade in. If it's good enough trade. If the GameStop gives a good enough trade in, I'll probably trade it in just to test it out and stuff. So hopefully it's a smaller console. They were hiring a year ago for a new open world stealth game. Like Ghost 2. I have a question. That's my question too. What are they? Because we know. That's a good point, Black Knight. Because I said earlier in the stream, what I'm kind of very interested in is, what is PlayStation going to do this summer? Are they going to have a showcase, and what are they going to show at that showcase? Are they going to be showing us first party stuff? Obviously, it's not major first party stuff coming out this year, but what are they going to do to convince people going forward 2025, 2026? And I'm sure they have games in the works, but when are they going to be ready to show these things off? And if they have a showcase this summer, is it going to be based on what is coming out next year and the year after? Or are they going to continue to do what they've been doing recently, which is just kind of giving us those third-party games and smaller titles generally? So the question, they must have something planned. Like, I don't see PlayStation being dumb enough to come out and just say, hey, here's the PS5 Pro, and there's no difference, but it will just spend $150 more or whatever for this thing. But there's no reason for you to go out and buy it right now. So I don't know. We'll see. GameStop will probably give 300. Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. All right, Matthew, have a good night. Appreciate you coming by. Xbox One S was the first console you bought for $260 Canadian. I bought an Xbox One S for $250 on Kijiji, which is like Craigslist here for anyone who's not familiar with Canada. For $250 an Xbox One S, which the Xbox One S was awesome. I actually really like the Xbox One S. But yeah, like Xbox is gonna have some sort of mid refresh of some sort, or people were telling me to not call it a mid-gen refresh. That white Xbox Series X, it's just another Series X. I don't know what to call it. I mean, if they release that white Series X without a disk drive, it is a refresh of that console, I guess. But I feel like this showcase coming up, if they are going to show off new hardware, I honestly at this point think it's a kind of a bad move to show off the white Series X if that's all they're going to show. Because I think a lot of people that I've seen just from interactions and in comments and stuff like that and online is that, but again, we went over this at the beginning, that those kind of contradicting myself here, but I guess based off of online discourse, those people will be disappointed, that niche amount of people, that if they only show off the white Series X, they'll be disappointed because I think they're expecting more. Like, I think they're expecting something more than just a all digital Xbox Series X. Maybe like a glimpse at a handheld. I think a lot of people are expecting a handheld to be talked about. I think people are also confused because Sarah Bond was kind of confusing at the business update when she said that the next Xbox is going to be the biggest technical leap, and said that there will be more to talk about in terms of hardware in the summer. I don't think she means I don't think she's going to be talking about or showing off anything for the next generation of Xbox this summer. She was just letting us know that like there will be another Xbox and that it will be a huge jump and upgrade. So, and if at the summer showcase, if they only show off the white Series X, I think some people will be disappointed. I think they are expecting more. Yeah, it's just a revision, refresh, whatever word you want to call it. It is what it is. It doesn't really matter. But like the price of that to me will be, when I first saw it and I talked about it on my video, I'm like in my mind thinking about it. I have no use for a all digital Xbox Series X. I already have a Series X and I like the disc drive, and I have a Series S. But if they come out with a good price for an all digital Series X, I will probably end up picking that up. I'll probably sell my Series S and then just get that as like my all digital Xbox and replace it. But it has to be a good price. Like, I'm thinking they got to come out very aggressive with the all digital Series X. $399, honestly, $399, very aggressive price for that. And I think that will sell well. So that's my optimism on the all digital X, is that they'll be very aggressive on the pricing to try to just move as many units as possible. But I think we may see something more, or at least talk about something more. That's someone asked me earlier, sorry if I forget who, but in the stream, what do I want to see? I think it was maybe you, JJ, but what I want to see at the Xbox showcase, or what I think they will show. I think another thing they will talk about is the whole Xbox everywhere thing, with the whole ecosystem, expanding it with bringing the Xbox OS to more devices, like on a handheld and stuff. I think they will go more into that because that's the theme that we have seen them even talk about from the internal emails that have been leaked out. So if they're continuously telling all the employees at Xbox about this new strategy, they're probably getting ready to get people in tune with it when they do release it out to the public, in terms of they've already released it to the public, but to talk about it more to the public. So that could be something else which would be cool to see, especially if they have like examples as to exactly what they mean. This is the PS5 digital price. Okay, even more aggressive then. I don't know, the 349. 349. Undercut it. They have to be aggressive with it. If they're just gonna, if the refresh for this generation is just a digital Series X, they got to be aggressive with the pricing. There's no point in putting that thing out at the same price as, or even just like $50 less than the regular Series X. Got to be very aggressive with it. Because at this point, you're taking out the disk drive, and they've probably manufacturing process has become far more efficient, has become far cheaper. They're making money on every console sold, so they can cut the price down pretty good. So I think they will be very aggressive on that. Microsoft should definitely bring WoW to consoles. I've been saying this for a while, and I think they will, but who knows when. I think they also gotta like phase out this whole BattleNet stuff and try to get, as for the PC experience, just try to get everything as PC console experience as similar as possible. Not have different launchers, especially for the first party content. The most annoying thing about Game Pass for me on PC, which is why like I don't even use it that much for any, unless it's for PC Game Pass, I basically avoid anything from EA Play and anything from any other launcher, because I want the achievements. You don't get achievements if it's coming from the other launchers. So they gotta figure that out. I don't know how, or if they can even do anything about that, but they have to figure out. They have to give the seamless experience that if you're playing like Battlefield 2042 on PC Game Pass, you're getting achievements on your Xbox account because you're logged into your Xbox account to be able to access it via Game Pass. They can undercut the old console, but it's more likely they're going to sell it for 600 plus. Sony wants all. Black Series S is 349 already. 350 is a Black Series S series. So then you go 350 on the white Series X, and then you sell the Black Series S for 300 or 250. I'm sure they can be aggressive on this pricing. We're 4 years into this generation. The tech in the consoles now are far behind what the higher end stuff is, so I'm sure they can be pretty aggressive on it if they want to. And at this point, if they aren't selling enough consoles, then they just got to move units, even if they're taking a slight loss just to get more people into the ecosystem. I mean, I feel like they're probably not taking a loss anymore now, but I think Microsoft will drop the whole Activision Blizzard catalog for the showcase, or split it, cut it back on Game Pass deals, and use it for filler later on. I don't think they'll drop the entire ABK catalog. I think they will definitely be split up and dropped sporadically to get people excited as months go on. But I think we will see a drop. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a big drop of like Call of Duty all at the same time, because those games have already been, the servers have already been fixed. People can actually go in and play those games online, and it would just make sense as like a massive announcement. There's so many other games in their catalog that they could drip feed as months go on, but just drop like Call of Duty games, get people in there excited to play them. Might as well, because they were giving them away essentially at one point just before the ABK deal went through. I think it was like $5 a game. I guess not giving them away, but like very cheap to get all the old CODs. A lot of people have probably already bought them because of that deal, so might as well just put them all in the Game Pass right away. Yeah, and that's a good point, Soldier Boy. Put some of those into Game Pass Core. That'd be huge. Hiding Chronicles 100 Heroes comes to Game Pass on April 23rd. I played the side scroller Hiding Chronicles I loved. So yeah, I'm looking forward to 100 Heroes as well. Yeah, I mean, there you go, Rachie. I mean, that's what I think they have to do at this point. 4 years into this generation. Cut the cost. Undercut a PS5 digital at the very least. And I think it will move units, especially if they come out and they market it with Call of Duty and stuff and Game Pass. Like, it will move. I think it will move units. All right. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it quits for tonight. I gotta wake up and work in the morning, but I appreciate everyone coming out. Got a video coming out at 8 a.m. tomorrow as usual, so check that out. And yeah, we'll have a good week. Hopefully some interesting news all week, and there'll be some good videos all week, so make sure to check those out at 8 a.m. and appreciate all the support as usual, coming out to the stream, watching the videos, and helping this channel grow. Almost 18k subs. I'm almost at 20k, which is a milestone I never in my wildest dreams thought I would ever reach. So I'm gonna call it a night. Everyone have a good night, and I will talk to you guys